Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I am super highly caffeinated.
I am right there with you. I want to make sure that I didn't let anybody down, so I had a lot of coffee this morning. Hey, just really quickly before we get started, I just want to brag about who you are real quick. You are a nationally sought after content development coach for Instagram. You own your own media company. You have created your own company in the last 5 years, and it is incredible. You are a self-made entrepreneur. You specialize in working with us, realtors, lenders, title reps. I love it. I have been in your classes, but more importantly, what you do is you truly add value to both the mortgage industry, the real estate industry, and as a whole, our industry. So I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to learn from you. I know I took lots of notes from our friend Jeff, and I know that I'm going to be taking lots of notes on you as well. With that said, just to brag about you some more, literally, I mean, you're just the most sought after, most awesome person. And the really cool thing is you're just normal. You're just a good old fashioned normal person that shows up authentically, as Jeff said, and you've created a reputation. You've created a brand. You've created a presence. Can't wait to learn. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, my friend Michelle Berman, please take it away.
Awesome. Katie, are you going to screen share or do you want me to?
You're welcome to screen share. Let me make you a co-host. Give me 2 seconds.
Did I leave anything out?
No, I'm just a person. I'm just a normal human. I love that part of
Human
it.
being. God, I love it.
Well, that's not the screen I want to share. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Can you guys see my screen now? Yes. Awesome. Okay. So, well, first off, thank you guys for that introduction. That was amazing. And I also am a huge, huge fan of Jeff. I had a really fun time getting interviewed myself for his book when he was writing it. He's somebody who I just talked to just the other day. We have a whole bunch of things that him and I want to do together to just continue to add value to this incredible market that we get to work with every single day. So for those of you guys who have never heard of me, Amir's right. I am a self-made entrepreneur. So I did start my company in November of 2014. I actually quit corporate America to the dismay of my father, who had gotten me the job that I had, was currently working in. But my problem was in the corporate space that I was working in California at the time. The social media space was very underserved, and it was much more so about just pumping out content. So that question that Jeff was answering about quality versus quantity was like the biggest problem for me. Is people were just paying a lot of money to get the exact same content that everybody else had. And it didn't resonate with me. It didn't sit well. And so I really thought there has to be a better way to do this. So I actually quit corporate America in August of that year and incorporated myself as Berman Media in November, a couple months later. And I actually started off as an influencer. So some people have probably heard of that phrase where, you buy and sell ads or you buy and sell accounts and then you flip them like you would flip real estate. And throughout that process, I got really, really good at identifying, hey, this kind of content is going to get a better ROI in front of these kinds of eyeballs, or this product doesn't belong in front of these type of people because it doesn't resonate with them. It doesn't sit well, or they're just not interested in that type of product for the type of person they are. And so I just really got to deep dive into the psychology, if you will, of humans, and how people decide whether or not they want to buy something. And so in January of 2018, I know Jeff attested to this as well, but the concept of the riches are in the niches, guys, is so true. And we're going to talk about that a lot during my presentation when we jump into the value series funnel specifically. But when I niched down in January of 2018, up until that point, I've been working with, anybody in the social media space, anybody that needed help as far as content development, getting better at creating strong branded content to their personalities, as he was talking about. With that realtor, I actually just followed her, the pink hair lady, because she's awesome. But I just believe so much that if you guys can take the time to come up with like, where's your passion at, as Jeff was saying, it's going to make a massive difference. So when I decided to do that in January of 2018 and only work with the real estate space lenders, and obviously title kind of lumps into that, my business literally 6 times in that first year. And the math speaks for itself. It's just a function of saying, like, where's my passion at? And I know, Katie, you and I chatted laughingly about this, but like, I'm obsessed with Chip and Joanna Gaines, all things shiplap, farmhouse, Woody, all of that. And so when I decided, where's my heart at? Where's my passion at? I actually fired all my clients, and I just started from scratch and only started working with real estate agents. Because I was like, I got to get into my zone of genius, and I got to fall in love with one thing. And when I did that, it's been unbelievable since then. So it's pretty exciting to be able to be a part of this amazing panel that Katie and all of you guys have put together. I'm just blessed and honored to be part of it. So with that being said, what I want to talk about today specifically, for those of you guys that, again, maybe don't know, I only do Instagram. I'm an Instagram person. I'll let Travis be the Facebook expert. But I definitely am the Instagram guru, if you will. I truly believe in the power of this program. And Travis would probably laugh at me by saying this, but I actually to date have never spent $1 on a Facebook ad ever. So I've built my entire business on crushing it in the DMs on Instagram, and being really good at providing really high value specific to a specific client. I'm going to say specific a lot today, but really good, very narrowed down content that is specific to my ideal client, or the person that I resonate with and that I connect with in the real estate space. So I'm looking forward to this value series funnel, and I'll let you guys in on what this actually is. So on Instagram, there's one piece of content in particular that I preach the most, and it is value series. So what a value series is from a 30,000 foot view, it's one of the 4 pieces of content that you should be producing on Instagram on a monthly basis. So if you have a 30-day content calendar, one of those 4 pieces that make up that 30 days is your value series. So what a value series is basically one topic for the entire month that you are going to hone in on, aka that zone of genius for yourself of what can I actually put out into the universe that is specific to my ideal client, that solves the problem that Jeff was prefacing for me so beautifully, but that solves that problem of, my ideal clients always calling me. They're always asking me these same questions. Well, guess what? If you're trying to attract more of those ideal clients, then you got to answer those questions in your content that you're putting out. So I'll jump into what this actually is, but essentially the value series funnel, as I was saying, is just one piece of your 30 days worth of content, which if we have time to do another digital panel one of these days, I'm sure I'll talk about another piece of content, but the value series is just my favorite. And it's the one where you guys get to, as I was saying a little bit earlier, really jump into that zone of genius for yourself. So what an actual value series is it's a topic or one of the 3 templated days, if you will, on Instagram. So the other 3 pieces, I'll let you guys in on the secret there. The 4 total types. First one is value series, which we're talking about today. The second type is listings. The third type is your testimonials. And then the 4th type is lifestyle images. So Jeff also said, I'm going to piggyback off of Jeff a lot here because it's a perfect segue, but the 4th type of content being the lifestyle images is 50% of your Instagram content. So out of your 30 days of content, 15 of those, guys, is just you being you. It's just a picture of you with your husband. It's you on date night. It's you and your dog. It's you going to get coffee. I'm a Olympic weightlifter when I'm not teaching or doing Instagram stuff. So I love showcasing and sharing that because it's just me. My husband is a retired Green Beret, so we do a lot of stuff with the military and a lot of the stuff, or a lot of VA stuff around Phoenix where I live. So I like to showcase that because it's a huge part of who I am. And then the other 15 days are business related or content specific to trying to attract business, if you will, for myself. So the value series for that first bullet point for you guys is the one of the 3 templated days. And then of course, lifestyle images are not templates, right? They're just photos from our camera roll. but the value series itself is really designed to allow you to become the expert in your field. So this is an opportunity for you to say, I love talking about X, Y, and Z, or I specialize in X, Y, and Z. So now I'm going to create an entire series around it for the month so that I can attract a bunch of other people or a bunch of other eyeballs, if you would, to my Instagram that are going to care about the content I'm putting out. So this kind of leads into my next piece here, and this may ruffle some feathers as well, but your current content strategy for most of you guys is actually cheapening your expertise. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I mean that lovingly. But I say it in the sense of, if you're currently posting screenshots of flyers that you get from your lender or from your title company with like the 10 different steps to the home buying process, or the home buying funnel or information about the VA loan, if you're posting those PDFs that are meant to be printed and handed to someone on social media, that is not good content. That doesn't make you stand out. And you have to ask yourself, if I were scrolling Instagram and I actually saw another real estate agent post that, would I stop? Would I stop my scroll, and would I actually care? Would I want to read it? And the answer, in most cases, you guys can answer that question for me if you'd like to in the chat box, but I would beg to say that 90% of you guys would say no. And Katie just answered for me. She says no. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not going to stop your scroll on somebody else that does that, then my encouragement to you guys is don't do it on your own pages. So the value series being how we're going to switch that. We're going to totally reverse engineer the content we're putting out as far as adding value to a potential home buyer or a potential seller that might want to work with you. So again, the goal here is to move away from cookie cutter content and this concept of, no matter what kind of content I put out, I don't really care who I attract as long as it's someone that has money in their bank account. I know Joke had a client reach out to me, and when I was working with them through identifying their niche, he was like, I honestly don't care. As long as they have money and can afford to buy a house, I'll work with them. And the problem, well, that's not wrong, obviously. The problem is that it's really not going to generate you any good, solid leads off of a platform that is meant to be specific. So thank you, Katie. That was really awesome of you to say that. But I am just really, my goal for you guys, like I said, through this value series concept is we have to identify that it factor for ourselves, because it translates very well through this concept of value series. When we put it on Instagram, people are going to resonate with it. People are going to stop on your Instagram and be like, whoa, this person, their level of knowledge when it comes to appraisals, like what the heck? And that person's then going to be able to stop and say, you know what? The last time I bought a house, my appraisal was a hot mess. Was it because of my realtor, or was it because of I just didn't understand the process? So being able to identify, how you can really leverage attracting people who need you, as Jeff said, because the universe does need you. People want to buy houses and people want to sell houses, but they need the right person to help them do that. So the breakdown of what an actual value series is one topic for the entire month. And what you're going to do with this one topic is you're going to break it into 5 individual bullet points. And each one of those bullet points then gets turned into one post. One topic, 5 bullet points equals 5 posts out of the 30 for the entire month. So we briefly talked about the breakdown here, but you guys can see that 1/6 of your entire month is super business driven as far as value, your tips and your information that you're adding to a potential buyer or seller. It's not a lot, and it shouldn't be a lot, because at the end of the day, everyone knows this, but we don't hire your brokerage. We don't hire the company that you work for. We don't hire anything other than you. We want to work with you because you are the right person for us. So this allows us to be able to do that and make people realize, hey, I'm good at what I do. So that's the actual tangible breakdown. Haley's asking if these slides will be available for download, Katie. I'm not sure the answer to that question. Are we supposed to send it to you? Because I can if I need to.
Not download right now. I think they're trying to take notes. So if you want to share after this, then I will distribute it to them after the call.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I answered questions as I go. I have a habit of reading the chat box as I go. So I can ignore it for now if you need me to. And I got to move now my chat box is stuck right in the middle of my screen. There we go. Okay, sorry guys, now we're back to it. So before I jump into breaking down how to actually create the content you guys see on this, what I wanted to do is actually just give you guys a bunch of inspiration and get your wheels turning in your brains of how are we supposed to actually create content and put it onto Instagram. What is it supposed to look like? Because then I typically like to use the term reverse engineering, but you guys can see the end result or the product, and now we have to break it down and do and figure out, as Brennan Burchard said, the 6 steps to get to the promised land of the value series as a whole. I'm a huge Brennan Burchard fan. He doesn't know it, but if he ever met me in real life, I know he'd love me. But I've never met him either, but I hope that I can someday, but I do love him. So what the value series as a whole looks like, I'm going to give you guys a total of 6 examples here. And again, I just want you guys to get some ideas in your brain of, I want to do that, or I want to do this color, or oh, I like that, I don't really like that. I want you guys to start to feel that, and then we're going to reverse engineer it and break it down into the individual pieces that actually allow you to get to these. So all 3 of the agents here on your screen are all students of the Instagram Power Method program. And when they came to it, the first one over here on the far left, her name is Devin. She's a brand new agent. She's never done a transaction. And she said to me, how do I create value if I don't even know who I work with because I haven't worked with anyone before? And the answer is, for her, I said, well, Devin, what do you do in your free time? What did you get a degree in? What do you do on the weekends when you go hang out with your girlfriends? Where do you go? What's your passion, if you will? And she said, I really love money. Like, I love the dollars and cents. She's a big Dave Ramsey person. She also has a degree in interior design. So she wanted to be able to somehow feature the 2 of those kind of cohesively, which I thought was super cool. So you can see her template is very modern. It's very clean. And then she gets to talk about money and her topic that she's addressing, which I think is pretty cool. So what she did in the center, you guys will notice that all of these, they are in the form of a question. And I'll get to why that's so important here momentarily. But when you're creating value, typically what agents will do is they'll say buyer's tip or seller's tip, and that's what they'll call it. And then in the middle of the screen, it's make sure you declutter your home, period. And there's no engagement there. There's no effort to get somebody to stop and read it and be like, what? I want to know what so-and-so has to say, or I want to know what so-and-so's opinion is. Or no, I didn't know you could use a VA loan more than once. What? Right? So asking questions and doing it in a form of a question allows for more engagement. So that's a big question everyone's asking me. How do I get more engagement? How do I get more engagement? Make sure your content's in the form of a question, and don't put 17 bullet points on one piece of content that you put out, and you'll get more engagement, period. So the center person in the middle there, he's a student of ours. His name is Kenneth Travis. He's actually a lender way out in East Texas. And he's a really cool dude that likes to work on his Longhorn or work with his Longhorn during the week when he's not doing loans. So for him, we get to talk about that side of it as well, specifically in terms of topics that we get to address. And then the third example over on the far right is Candace. So I love what Candace did here. She actually works for Realty One. So if any of you guys are familiar with Realty One Group, they're black and gold, they're coloring. And when she joined my program, the very first thing she said was, Michelle, I hate black and gold. How do I do this? And I said, girl, use whatever your favorite colors are, put it into your branding, use your personality, and obviously give credit where credit's due. You work for a great company, so make sure you tag them in your content. Make sure you put them in your caption and say that you work for Realty One. But it doesn't need to be Realty One colors on your branding. So that's an important differentiation. So that's a third example for you. And then here's 3 more. So Hannah over on the far left, she's actually a horse property specialist. So she only sells horse property. She doesn't do anything else. She's a professional bull rider and barrel racer when she's not selling real estate, which is pretty freaking awesome. And she likes to talk about the horse property concept because that's her zone of genius, right? She grew up riding horses. She grew up being raised on farms and on ranches. She moved around a lot for events and for competitions. So she's really well versed in the horse property space. And her logo is this, and it actually looks like a brand. If you guys are familiar with like the branding on cattle, it looks like that, but it's actually her first and last name. So Hannah Ward. And she's done a really cool job with it. So her branding is just very unique to her. She's obviously using olive green here, which I think is awesome. It's my favorite color, fun fact. So she did a really cool job with creating that. And again, all of this, if you notice, there's only one sentence there. All three of these on the screen here, there's only one sentence. There's nothing more than a catchy, grabbing attention, if you will, grabber in the form of a question that's going to make somebody stop and read it and want to know the answer. That's the ultimate goal. Is if somebody comes across this and they're like, wow, this is really, really helpful, but where's the answer? Well, guess what? You got to read my caption to get the answer. And it keeps those eyeballs on your content for longer. So the key to conversion, guys, on Instagram specifically is content that actually converts. And content that converts is content that gets people to stop and slow their roll so that they have to keep consuming more and more and more of your content. And the numbers don't lie again here, but the longer somebody stays on your Instagram, the more likely they are to convert. So the goal is keep them there as long as possible. Who was the first example? Ben's asking. The first example, her name was Devon Batista. If you guys want to look her up, Devon Batista was the first example. And then Hannah's over here. She's in Phoenix. Jeb Smith is actually a real estate agent in San Diego. And he is a really cool guy that does a lot of really fun videos, especially in regards to value series. So he'll kind of flip back and forth between a template and a video for the value series, which is a really cool thing that we worked with him on, because he likes doing video more so than the still images, which of course you guys can absolutely do, and I highly recommend video. But look him up on Instagram. He is killing it in the San Diego market, which is a very hard market to do business in, as most of you guys probably know. And then the third one over there on the far right is actually me. So it's just my template that I use. You guys can see the point of me putting it here is I walk the walk, right? So I teach this, and I want to show you guys that I, of course, obviously do the exact thing that I'm trying to get you guys to do, which is grab attention, answer, and solve problems through my questions that I'm addressing. So during quarantine, are you developing your leads on Instagram being the example I use there? And during quarantine, when we were all going through COVID, the realtors that I worked with and the ones that did the best were the ones that were actively reaching out and talking to their pipeline on social media during that time, or texting them, or just being available to them through social media, so that they would continue to keep consuming their content, those potential leads over that course of, the 3-4 months that we were all kind of stuck on lockdown, if you will. Nicole's asking for, oh, thank you, Katie. You beat me to it.
Katie Hippert does have a quick question. She said all these examples have the agent's photo in them. Is this a strategy you teach? Do you suggest using them in every post, or a handful of posts, or all the value series posts?
Yep. So amazing question. So another Katie. We have a lot of Katies in here. But we got to do Katie S, Katie H. We got to do it like that.
Yeah.
Katie R, I know. I'm looking at the two Katies side by side here right now too. Okay, so, and Katie Green. Oh my word. I've never had so many Katies in one space. But okay, so the answer to that question is the value series template looks the exact same every single time you post a value series day. However, I actually teach that the photo on your template can change every single time you post it. So look at my Instagram for those of you guys who are curious. Look at any of these examples. And then the photo you'll notice on the actual template changes every single time they post a value series day. And value series days gets posted every 6 days. That's a lot of days. But every 6 days is when you're posting a value series post. So I did a branding photo shoot. I do them about twice a year, and I just go through all the photos and I switch them out. KT, the gentleman here in the center, as I was saying, he lives on a big ranch and works and has a lot of longhorn that he, is part of his business, if you will. And he has a picture for one of his value series where he just has his arm over the horn of one of his longhorns. And that's the photo he used because he was actually talking about land loans during that value series. So it was relevant to what he was talking about, and it's very specific, obviously, to him. So the photo is not stagnant. You don't have to use the same one every single time. However, the template as a whole looks the same every time you're posting it. So again, I would recommend using, and everybody was starting to answer it for me, but I use Canva. I teach Canva. I am not a graphic designer at all. I don't have a degree in graphic design in the slightest. However, Canva makes me look like I do. So Canva is, I hope I can say this on here, but Canva's badass. And you guys should use it. It's very user-friendly. It's amazing for being able to create content. So actually in my program, what I teach is all Canva. So all of your templates are made there because it's so user-friendly. So Katie Green, it says another vote for Canva. Everybody loves Canva. Okay, so how do we actually arrive at the topic? So if we go back here, you guys will notice that they have topics on here. So Hannah's as well, where to begin, aka water wells on horse properties. So see here, a little play on words there was pretty fun. For KT, we had 5 big reasons you should refinance right now. Candace was 5 common first-time home buyer concerns. If you guys look at mine, it's cold, warm, or hot leads, and that's what I was talking about for the month. So how do we arrive at these topics? Now here is your value series funnel from a 30,000 foot view, and then I'm gonna break down each one of these 3 individual pieces and give you guys a tangible homework assignment to do with them so you can actually start implementing this like within an hour after class. So that's my goal for you guys, is to be able to very quickly, 1, be inspired, 2, be able to actually go implement this right away. So the first piece, specifically for social media marketing as a whole, and yes, I'm an Instagram specialist, but it's really not just about Instagram, it's about marketing and it's about branding as a whole. What is your it factor? And I know Jeff was talking about this a little bit before we started with mine, and I totally 1000% agree with Jeff in that if you don't have a zone of genius or you don't have a specialty, you're fishing from a really big pond without the right bait. So you don't really care what you're getting, right? You're just hoping you get something. But what happens if you catch something that you don't want? My husband is a really big fisher. He loves fishing, but we caught a catfish last night and he was like, gross, I don't want catfish. And I was like, babe, you're using the wrong bait, right? Like you're going to attract what you put out there, and being able, and sorry if that's a weird example, but it's true. But the whole point of it is we have to know who we're trying to reach, and we have to be able to really identify who are we as a realtor. Are we the first-time homebuyer person? Are we the new build person? Are we the horse ranch type person? Do we specialize in properties that need fixed, right? The fixer-upper type person. Are you the investment specialist? Are you the commercial realtor that specializes in working with people that need 1031 exchanges? Like, who are you, right? And getting into the nitty-gritty is going to be huge here, because this allows you to really identify where can I springboard off of for the whole rest of my content. And whether that content goes on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube where you're recording a video, or whether it goes on Pinterest or Twitter, like it doesn't matter, as long as it's zoned in and it's real specific. So the second piece to the value series funnel is your target client. So if you stop and say, I know that I sell the most of this type of property, or I work with this type of buyer the most, then the second piece of it is who's my ideal client within that niche. So I'm going to give you guys a really good example here when we get to it. But for example, if you guys, any of you listening are saying, I'm a first-time home buyer specialist, well, my response to you would be, that is not a target audience because it's way too broad, right? First-time home buyer would be a great niche, but then we have to pick our target audience and say, who are my ideal people that fit that first-time home buyer category, right? So almost 4 years ago when I bought my first house, I was a single entrepreneur that had way too much money in savings that wasn't invested, and I knew that it was the right thing to do to actually put money into buying a house and not renting. So that's a unique type of person, right? There's another one being your newly married couples that don't have a lot of money, but they're married now and they want to live in a house together. They don't want to rent. You also have people who are currently, or what's another good example of first time? Oh, people with low credit, right? So people who are struggling with issues there that kind of are landlocking them from being able to buy a home for the first time. That kind of thing. You also have your really young people that are kind of coming in and out of, or maybe they're in the military, right? For example, and they have money and they don't have anywhere to put it. That's a good one. And I've actually seen a lot of real estate agents that have specialized exclusively in active military because they have money sitting in a bank account and they don't have anyone or anywhere to send it. So it's, why not invest it in real estate? So there's an example for you guys of going from niche to target audience. And I have another really good example here on the next couple of slides. But the third piece to the funnel is once we have a niche, we know what we specialize in. Now we have three, I usually recommend picking 3 different ideal clients that fit that niche. Then we get to pick pain points. We have to identify what these pain points would be for those ideal clients. So if we say one of my ideal clients are, or is, as Jeff was saying, the divorcee people, well, then what are their pain points? Because their pain points are going to be a lot different than Dave and I, who want to build a home from scratch on a piece of land that we buy next year, right? Our pain points are totally different. We have totally different struggles and totally different issues or things that we would need or ask types of questions we would ask. So the third piece, again, finding the pain points of those 3 ideal clients you're writing down. So if you have 3 different people that you love to serve, write a pain point down for each one of those 3 people. And guess what those pain points turn into, guys? They turn into the topics that you're using for your value series. That's how easy this funnel can be if you're doing it and you flow through it one step into the next. So we're going to go through each one of these steps individually. Katie says you attract who you are, so be confident in your niche. I absolutely agree, 100%. That's so true. Okay, next part. So part number 1 is identifying your niche. I have come up with a really easy trend or homework assignment for you guys to be able to do this for yourself within your own business. So what I want you guys to do is identify your last 10 transactions. So I want you guys to write down everything, all the things that went well, all the things that didn't go well, write down the price point, write down the type of home, write down the needs list that they came to you with, write down the questions that they randomly had in the middle of the transaction, or say, for example, they came to you and they were like, I really want a $400,000 house that's single story, and I want it to have 10,000 square feet as far as like the property or the lot size. And then all the houses they're saving and the little stars on the MLS when they're on, you know, getting to see it are all 2 stories with, and they're all new builds. You're like, something's wrong there. Like, what's going on, right? So if that kind of thing is happening, we need to know why. And we need to be able to, like, if it were me and I was a realtor writing a value series about that, I'd be like, okay, so making sure that as a buyer, you actually know what you want before you start looking, right? And that's a whole big thing, because that's a big problem. People don't even know what they actually want because they haven't taken the time to really either 1, work with a realtor and try to go through that conversation, or 2, do it on their own. Katie says we call these our A clients. I love that. AKA the hard ones. But yeah, so I love that. So this homework assignment is going through that going through your last 10 transactions, and being able to really identify a common theme there. And I also don't want you guys to avoid writing down the things that did or went bad. Like if you had a deal fall through, write it down, right? If you had something happen that was like, say, for example, the seller backed out because the buyer wanted 25 things fixed on the inspection report and your seller got pissed off, write that down, right? Because that helps us be able to create more specific content to help tell people, hey, I got your back. I can solve these problems if that's going to happen to you. So as you're going through this process, come up with a theme between all of them, and that will help you guys identify phase 2, which is who our ideal client is. So I give you guys an example, or gave you guys an example here. If your last 10 transactions are mostly veterans who are all using their VA benefits to buy their first or second home, let's just say that's you. I do work with a ton of veteran specialists in the real estate space. So it's just a good, easy example for me to give you guys. But if you're going through that and you can really identify there's your commonality there, then your niche should be veteran buyers. More veteran sellers, it really doesn't matter, but veteran buyers. And then if our niche is veteran buyers, the question now becomes, what kind of veteran buyers do I work with the most? So again, I invite you guys to pick 3 or pick your top 3 within your niche. So your first one being, or could be considered active duty, because that is a really specific thing. If you only specialize in active duty people, there's a whole market for that. Second example, retired or medically retired individuals. And then the third would be your traditional veteran or your honorably discharged person who served there 4 or 6 years and then got out, served their contract and got out. So that's a really good example of 3 different people that would fit a niche like veteran buyers. Now, what do we do with that? Again, we go into the next piece to the funnel, which is what are my ideal clients' pain points? So if these are my 3 ideal clients down here, active duty, retired, medically retired, and you're honorably discharged, then I get to talk about what those individual pieces or individual types of people's pain points are. So identifying pain points is really easy because all you got to do is ask, right? Or all you got to do is go through your transactions and write them down. Write down the issues that or the questions that everybody was asking you as they started. And as agents, whether you're brand new or whether you've been in the industry for 20, 30 years, you know what the pain points are for people buying a home, most likely. You've gone through and had unique experiences where you could say, gosh, if only I could have educated that person beforehand, I would have. And we've all been through there. We've all done that. We've all experienced that, whether we're a real estate agent or not. So the second piece is pain points can be identified by asking yourself, what are the common questions these people ask me before they even decide to work with me? So if you're trying to win a listing and the seller is asking you these individual questions, trying to see if you're worth allowing them or allowing you to sell their home, those are great pain points, right? Writing them down so that you can position yourself when you're making value series topics to say, hey, seller, I know that one of your questions is going to be X, Y, or Z when you call me to come look at your house. Guess what? I can already solve it, right? And then you're putting out really confident content that when that seller calls you, they don't even need to interview you. They're just like, where do we sign? That's what we want. And that's the winning, golden ticket, if you will. So the second or the last piece to this is that pain points can really or should be really centered around issues that have happened in your transactions. So if there's really common issues that seem to keep happening, then that would be a really easy place for you to start on picking pain points. And again, these pain points that you're writing down are your monthly topics. So if you make a list and all of a sudden you got 10, 15 different pain points, guess what? You got 10 to 15 months worth of value series topics because every month you need one topic and you need 5 bullet points under that topic. So you guys do the math, that's 15 months potentially worth of content. So this concept of I'm out of things to talk about, or I've already talked about that 6 times, or I've already done seller's tips, or I've already done how to prepare your home to get top dollar. Like I've already done that stuff. Well, yeah, maybe you've done it from the 30,000 foot view, but have you gotten into the nitty gritty of the individualized pieces to that? Like what are some of, like, for example, if somebody renovates their house and thinks that they're going to get the most money for putting pavers and turf in their backyard, they're kind of SOL, right? Like that's not actually going to be what gets them the most money. If they put the money into the kitchen, they sure as heck will. If they put the money into the master bedroom or the master bathroom, they will, right? So being able to really like pick and dissect topics that can really solve actual problems that people are having is going to be huge. And I'll use an example. I had a lady in one of my classes earlier this week who, when she did her last 10 transactions homework, she identified that 14 of the last 18 transactions for her were all referrals from One Love, which is a pit bull foundation here in Phoenix. She was like, all of my business was coming from this place that I just volunteer at because I have 2 pit bulls. And she has pit bulls and 2 sets, not 1 set, but 2 sets of twin daughters. So she has pit bulls and twins, and everyone's like, oh, pit bulls are awful for, they're mean dogs. And it's like, actually, they're not. I have a pit bull cattle dog mix, and he is like the biggest baby of all time. So what she did was she leveraged that, and she went through that last 10 transactions. She couldn't even believe it. She was like, oh my gosh, I have so much I could talk about here, specifically to buyers and sellers that have big dogs. Like, what do you do if, like, I have 4 animals, right? So what do I do if I'm trying to sell my house and I have showings? Do I take my dogs with me everywhere, right? Like, as a realtor, you get to educate us on specific things that are pain points for us and that are problems for us. So it was really cool. Her first series was all about turf and whether or not turf is right for you in your house if you have dogs. Like, hello, very specific series that nobody's talking about. Can I just say that? So it was amazing for her to come up with the topics that she came up with. So out of all the pain points for these examples of veteran buyers or the ideal clients, if you will, I picked 3 pain points and I turned each one of those pain points into a topic for the entire month. First topic, how can veterans buy multiple houses? Second topic, what kind of VA benefits do I have? Third topic, the Homes for Heroes benefits. So that's going to be 3 months worth of content, guys, not 3 posts, but 3 full months worth of content. And here's how this works. So if we're going to use how can veterans buy multiple houses as a topic, now we have to break it into 5 bullet points. And remember that each one of these bullet points equals a post on Instagram. So each one of these posts is every 6 days on your content calendar. And again, I recommend looking at my Instagram. I look at any of my other students' Instagrams. You guys can see how that content cycle will work. And it's really easy to follow. It's just an every 6-day rotating grid. But what I will say here, let's break this down. So if our topic is how can veterans buy multiple houses, what you don't want to do, and I'll say that one more time, what you don't want to do is answer all 5 of these things in one caption. Because why? That's way too much information. That's like information overload. But break it into individual chunks that or bite-sized chunks, if you will. And each one of those posts equals an individual thing you get to really dive all the way into and answer the question. So post number 1, is it true I can only use my VA loan once? Post number 2, are sellers likely to accept a VA buyer's offer, or less likely, excuse me. Post number 3, how much VA benefit dollar-wise do I get for buying a home? Post number 4, can I buy a second home and have both of them be a VA loan? Post number 5, can I build a home and use my VA benefit? So before I keep going, in the chat box, can you guys tell me, is anybody that you know of talking about this on Instagram? Any of these things? In their marketing, are they talking about these things? Katie says no. All the Katies say no. Melissa says no. Paul's, everybody's saying no. So why though? Like, this is just a common thing, right? Because I mean, I'll use myself as an example, right? Dave and I want to buy a house in Texas. And I literally called the lender that we're going to be using there. My parents, by the way, just moved to in-laws, just moved to Dallas. So when we move, we obviously want to be close to them. And the goal is to buy a piece of land and build a house. And Dave's medically retired, so we have more specific VA benefits. So I literally just called them and I said, hey, does it make more sense for us to buy land and do it through a bank, because we have to get a bank loan to do that, and then convert it into a VA loan once we build the property? So we do like a construction loan, land loan through the bank, and then we roll it over. And he went into this big long spiel for like 30 minutes. Could he have turned that one thing into one caption to answer it and get people to call him? 100%, right? Granted, he's one of my clients, so hopefully he does do that. But the point of the matter is that is information, like, it's gold. It's absolute gold. And it's going to be the reason why somebody will call you over somebody in their, BNI group or from their church who they have no idea what they specialize in. I'm just being honest, right? That's what it comes down to, is like, we need the specialist. We need the person that we know can solve our problem. Yes, but we have a ton of self-employed. I've never been on Instagram. Crystal, you need to join us on Instagram. It's amazing. Okay, so let me keep going just for sake of time, because I'm sure I'm probably running out of time here. But I do want to say, for this piece for you guys, I want you guys to see visually what a value series looks like and how to break it down on the template and why it's designed this way. So keep in mind, you guys can obviously play around with the design. It doesn't always have to look exactly like this. As you guys have seen from mine and other students, you can play around with the layout and the style of it, all that. But the topic is what's up here at the top. So, oops, I lost my mouse. There we go. Up at the top. So 5 big reasons you should refinance right now. That's the topic. So again, that topic is going to stay the exact same for all 5 posts for that month. The photo doesn't need to be the same. You can change the photo with every single one. However, the topic on the template is going to be the exact same. The question on the template is going to change all 5 times because it's a different thing that you're addressing. Your branding at the bottom needs to be there. Make sure you check with your brokerage as an agent, because some brokerages do require that you have the brokerage logo and the equal housing logo on certain things. So you need to be compliant. Make sure you pay attention to that. Same thing for you guys in the lending space. There are rules depending on the brokerage, or in this case, the firm that you guys work for. So make sure you guys pay attention to the rules and regulations, if you will. No, we don't want anybody to get fined for posting a good piece of content on Instagram. So branding goes at the bottom. And again, all of these, the question here is these. So if I was doing this exact topic, how can veterans buy multiple houses? That's going to stay here 5 times in a row. Then this question for post number 1 is going to be, is it true I can only use my VA loan once? Second time around is going to be, are sellers less likely to accept a VA buyer's offer? Post number 3, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of how that breakdown works. And Katie's asking, do we have separate for business and personal or the same? So I actually have a personal, but I literally never use it. And I'm going to address this in more detail right now really fast. Hopefully I still have time to do this, but the answer to personal, business, do I do both? Do I have separate? The way that I teach the content calendar for you guys, just so you guys can all write this down, it's a total of 30 days, right? For every month. 15 of those days are personal pictures. They're just you doing you. They're you in your life. They're you getting coffee, husband, whatever. The other 15 days are business content, right? So as a realtor speaking directly to the agents here, you have 5 days where you're posting listing days, right? So on a listing day, it's anywhere along the pendulum of the home buying process. It doesn't always have to be another listing. The other piece of content is testimonials. So you're gonna have a total of 5 testimonials a month. And then the third piece of templated content is value series, where you're gonna have a total of 5 of those per month. So you have 15 business posts, 15 totally personal, you guys doing you. If you look at my Instagram that I just posted, or my content that just went out actually while I was teaching this right now, it's just Dave and I at Have a Soup By, and it was just a really good picture of us that I talked about being able to, you know, experience adventures with him through entrepreneurship. So it's just a regular photo. So that answer to, you know, I don't want to be too businessy, I don't want to be too personal, is that's why the content calendar is developed the way that it is, because the lifestyle images is how we build the like and the know. So we just get to know you. We just feel like we know you, even though we've never met you. I mean, if I met Katie Shive in real life and I walked up, I just give her a hug, right? That's just how I am, because I've built that relationship with her virtually. And that's what you want, because then when you're going into doing a listing appointment or meeting a buyer for coffee, you feel like you've already built that relationship with them. And then the other 15 pieces of content build the trust factor, aka I'm just really good at what I do. And that's what you want to portray through that information. So hopefully that answers your question. Does this mean you are posting every day? Yes. So Hester, my recommendation is yes. I did hear Jeff say in the beginning, if you get in the habit of, you know, posting 3 to 5 times a week, you're doing good. I would piggyback off of that and say that having somebody develop a content calendar for you, like in the Instagram Power Method, is going to help you confidently post every single day, because you're going to know exactly what needs to be there. You're going to know exactly when you should be specifically when you should be posting based off your own insights. And you're going to confidently be able to deliver content every single day. If I'm not that frequent, is it okay to do less, and how does that look? Ideally, I'm trying to start 2. Yeah, so Hester, 2 posts a week is just not enough. That's going to be my exact answer. Because easily in 1 week, if you post 6 days worth of content, just to give you like the roundabout there, post number 1 could be a lifestyle image, aka just anything from your camera roll. Post number 2 could be a recent listing or a new listing you have, or a recent sold, or maybe it's an open house you have coming up on Friday or Saturday. Post number 3 is just going to be another photo from your camera roll, and it could be old. You could do retroactive there. Post number 4 is going to be a testimonial. Post number 5 is another lifestyle image. And then post number 6 is the value series that we've just spent the last 45 minutes talking about. So 2 a week, in my opinion, as a coach, is just, it's not enough. Brenda says 15 business days per month, content recap, 5 listings, 5 testimonials. The last 5, Brenda, are what we've been talking about on here, value series. Yep, thanks, Katie. The other Katie.
Are you guys loving this content so far? Yes, everybody?
It's amazing. Thank you, Michelle. So inspiring.
You're so welcome, guys. I know we're probably out of time. So thank you guys all. I'm just so grateful to be a part of this, and to get to hear Jeff, and then hopefully I get to stay on and hear Travis and Karen, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So really
I just want to say thank you so much. This is so incredible. Katie, Jennifer, Katie, Michelle, Jeff so far. I mean, honestly, I love this. We've the amount of content you provided, the ability to do it, the simplicity of it, and how well in line it goes with what Jeff said is awesome. I mean, this is so far just a 1-2 punch of exactly what we need to be doing to be able to really leverage are what you said, right? Which is the riches are in the niches. And if we can, the best part about what you're sharing with us, Michelle, is it's a model. It's a model that is proven successful for your clients, for your coaching clients, for the industries that you support, and you're proof of that in your business. Again, amazing. So good. Thank you. Really, thank you so much.
No, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys again. Like I've gotten a bunch of private questions and private chats in the chat box, and everybody, you guys are all just so awesome. And if I can change one person's business throughout all of this, then that's a huge win for me. So
can I ask a personal question that's for me? How does somebody get in touch with you? How do we get involved with you? How do we do this?
Well, as long as it's okay for me to say this, I will let you guys know, because I know it's not always about that. But I do want to answer your question directly. The answer is that there's two main ways. One, you can actually buy my program. So the Instagram Power Method is an online course that has 65 videos. It has 17 handouts and 3 bonus modules with a bunch of interviews with direct, either realtors or direct to loan officers that are currently using my program and implementing it into their own business. One of the interviews I did is with a loan officer who stopped spending all of his money on ad spend because he was doing so well with social media. And it was killer to listen to. So that's the first way, is the actual course itself. And it is available online. So if you guys have questions about how to get a hold of that, my email is on the screen, michelle@bermanmediapd.com. And then the best and fastest way is to DM me on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is there in the center of the screen for you guys. And I will directly send you to the sales page to help you guys choose either the monthly option or the one-time payment option. The second option is I do have a monthly coaching program. The monthly coaching is a whopping $97 a month. So it allows you to come to all of our weekly Zoom calls and ask your questions. The only downside to the coaching is if you don't have the product, it's going to be a little hard for me to direct you back to the product, direct you, because I'm going to directly relay everything to the Instagram Power Method itself. And then we do have a wait list for our VIP program as of right now. So we're actually full for that. But what the VIP program is kind of a do it all for you. So you would become an independent client of ours.
Yeah. Can you put my name on the do it all for you program list?
Yeah. Most of the time I will say, like, if you're a team leader, or if you, like in your case, Amir, if you have an assistant who you have doing social media for you, or an LOA or something, that's a good person to put through the Instagram Power Method program. That's usually what we recommend. Especially if you're already paying them a salary to help you, just kind of add it to what their job description is, really.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.